Welcome to episode 3 of Late Night with Mick. In this week's news, Ted Yoho of Florida called Representative Ocasio-Cortez disparaging and misogynistic epithets. Yo-ho, a success life for me. Arrgh. Polly says I cannot apologize for loving my God or my country. And now for a terrific segue, Disney reopened Universal Studios Orlando while Florida coronavirus cases are at an all-time high. But don't worry, they have a plan to keep the guests safe. Hey, psst, you know what's even more safe? Not opening up your theme park during the worst part of the pandemic. The name of Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger is being removed from their New York locations because she believed in eugenics. The planned in Planned Parenthood suddenly doesn't sit so well. Ivanka Trump is under fire for violating ethics codes when she endorsed the Goya food brand on her social media. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany came to the White House aide's defense, saying, "This complaint is another politically motivated, baseless attack from an organization with a vendetta against all of the administration. This tweet was made in her personal capacity, voicing her personal support." I can just imagine Ivanka behind closed doors. "Daddy, I violated federal ethics rules." "Don't worry, sweetie. We'll blame it on the Democrats." "Thanks, Daddy." Pfizer got $1.95 billion to produce a coronavirus vaccine by the end of the year. So why the pharmaceutical company known for making Viagra? Ask Melania. Finally, Trump bragged in his Fox News interview about a logic test that he aced. The test turned out to be a little more simple than he initially thought. Take a look. And now for some cute news. And now for your daily dose of cute news. Animal edition. In southern Nigeria, the world's rarest gorilla species was seen with babies. Thankfully for us, we'll get more pictures like these. In northern Corsica, a new feline species was discovered, and they called it the cat fox. When asked about Aesop's Cat and the Fox allegory, he said he was both flattered and offended by it. A historical theme park in France has trained crows to pick up litter by installing a small box that delivers food to them each time they deposit a cigarette butt or an otherwise small piece of trash. The president of the park, Nicolas de Villiers, said, "The goal is not just to clear up, but also to show that nature itself can teach us to take care of the environment." I'm looking forward to being mauled by a grizzly bear for not recycling paper. And that's it for cute news. This week, I played Zelda, the Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch game. I thought it was an amazing game. I was so excited. I told my mom about it and she was like, "Oh, you're a knight? Please tell me you're not saving some damsel in distress." And I was like, "Well, kinda. And going to defeat some dragons, are you?" "Yeah, but a little more complicated than that." Anyway, the visuals are amazing, and the storytelling and the intricacy, I cannot recommend it any higher. It's hard to top this in terms of the virtual world and gaming experience. 5-star minus the whole damsel in distress savior complex. For tonight's Going Deep, I'd like to talk about Jeff Bezos. As unemployment has hit a new high and homelessness keeps increasing, the founder and CEO of Amazon just broke a record for being rich. $13 billion in one day. So, how can he have it all? Well, let's see. Roughly speaking, he underpays his employees and forces them to work during COVID. That's something Amazon is under investigation for in California. Another way is by not paying any federal taxes. Here's how he legally got away with it. So, what are the dangers? Well, apart from world domination and oppression of the working class, Jeff Bezos is involved in things outside Amazon. He has a space program, which he proudly said in 2018 was the best use of his money. Neat. He dabbles in philanthropy, but not on a big scale like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, because he's not part of the Giving Pledge, in which billionaires agreed to donate the majority of their wealth to good causes. But his ex-wife is. But what I'd like to talk about more is the fact that he owns the Washington Post. While owning a newspaper can be perceived as a philanthropic gesture in itself and doing something for good, it also has the power to control the media narrative. Famously, William Randolph Hearst used his newspaper to promote propaganda for the Spanish-American War. So far, Bezos hasn't used the newspaper for any personal gain, but might it cause an indirect problem? The slogan for the Washington Post is "Democracy dies in darkness." It has a left-leaning bias and is critical of the Trump presidency. Trump is trying to retaliate by making Amazon fail, because I can only assume he can't stand someone who's 100 times richer than he is. But in this big boy pissing contest, Trump's tactic for hurting Amazon is by defunding the USPS, one of the providers for Amazon's delivery. Incidentally, it's also how mail-in ballots are counted. So ironically, Bezos' ownership of the Washington Post could potentially thrust democracy into darkness. I don't need to tell you the dangers of defunding the USPS, just watch this brilliant piece from my good friend John Oliver. But not to end on an ominous "the structures we've built are sham and our democracy is on extremely thin ice" note, let's look at what we can do. Well, for starters, we can tax the rich and tax companies in a way that doesn't allow for loopholes. Because top companies right now are being given extremely generous tax breaks, while smaller companies are having to pay up for it.
Ultimately, this means everyone else has to pick up the slack. That $2 billion Amazon is not paying will have to get paid by smaller businesses that don't have the wherewithal to lobby for tax breaks. It'll get paid by middle-income families in the form of higher taxes in some way.
Former Secretary of Labor Robert Reich put it well when he tweeted, "Democracy is a government for the people and not just for the wealthy." So let's be careful to sign up extra early for our mail-in ballots and vote for people who have plans to tax the super rich. Don't forget, the Senate elections and the House of Representative elections are at the same time as the presidential elections. So let's do our research, find candidates who will tax the rich, make noise, and maybe we'll bump back to a full democracy in the eyes of the EIU's Democracy Index. Because right now we are ranked 25th in the world for most democratic country. And as my friend Jon Stewart would say, "In your face, Malta and Estonia." We even dropped one rank below in the flawed democracy category. Maybe after the elections, we won't have such income disparity where nearly 40 million citizens live below the poverty line and one person makes $13 billion in a day.